Hello, everybody. I'm Marilyn of the Rainbow Aunties.
And I'm Naomi of the Rainbow Aunties.
Thank you for joining us tonight. We wish we could be live on YouTube, but until we get enough subscribers, we're going to share tonight excerpts from our book, our memoir that we wrote together. And we would like to invite you to please subscribe and follow us on TikTok, the Rainbow Aunties, and
Instagram, the Rainbow Aunties, and of course YouTube, the Rainbow Aunties. And we're going to read from the book. We're not going to read a lot because we just wanted to say thank you. People have been asking for an audible, and we're going to work on an audible. But tonight we're just going to share a few little excerpts from it as we start our YouTube channel. On this channel, we plan to go a little deeper than we go on some of the other social channels. Not always reading a book. Our content will be different. It will be a little more intimate. It may involve a little bit more of the family because we want to give the full story of that Rainbow Aunties. And so we're going to read from chapter 18, and the name of it is Times Have Changed. And we may stop in the middle of it because this is our memoir and it's very emotional.
yeah, just bear with us,
Just bear
please.
with us.
And the title of the memoir is From Pain to Love, Our Journey Outside the Rainbow. It can be found on Amazon or anywhere you purchase your books. Thank you so much for spending time with us today. We're going to get started from Times Have Changed, chapter 18. She reached for my hand and I pushed her away and got out of the car. I told her we were done and I needed for her to leave because I could not promise that I could keep it together. She drove alongside me for a second until I screamed, "Leave." MJ's journey. When I received the call that Wilma wanted me to pick her up from the airport in Memphis, I was elated and my emotions became mush. I was so excited that I would get to see her, but knew I had to remain subtle when making moves that involved her. Things at home had been awful. I was miserable, but I did not want to share any of those things with her. I wanted to spend time hearing about her experiences. My primary objective with Wilma was to convince her that we could be friends, the best of friends, if we did this thing right. Although I was determined to set the precedent that we could keep our status as best friends and sorority sisters, it was impossible to tell my heart the same. When we saw her at the airport, Alexis was super excited. She picked her up and gave her a huge hug. I squeezed her just tight enough to feel those boot camp biceps and triceps, and definitely long enough to smell that Jerry curl juice, my aphrodisiac.
It was May of 1988. I had finally graduated. I was excited to see Marilyn, but nervous. I didn't know what would become of this visit. I arrived in Memphis with a pocket full of money. When I got off the plane, there she was with Alexis. Alexis took off running toward me. I had my sea bag around one shoulder and a teddy bear for Alexis in my other hand. When I saw them both, I was overcome with emotions. I had not I had not shown many emotions since my first night of boot camp when my CC told me to stop crying because crying wasn't allowed inside those walls. I did not cry, but but my heart smiled, and then my face followed. I picked up Alexis and gave her the biggest kiss all over her face. She gave me the biggest and tightest hug as she called me her auntie. There she was, standing there, beautiful as ever. But she was even more beautiful this day. She walked over to me and asked if she could get a hug as well. We smiled at each other, and as soon as I put my arms around her, I felt safe, at ease, like I always felt. She had a very tight hold and gently kissed me on my jaw and said, "Welcome home." Even though I felt at home in her arms, I also felt something else as well, like a sense of calmness about her. She had made up her mind about something. As we headed to the car, she asked if I wanted to hang out for a while and stay overnight in Memphis. When I agreed, I also wondered how she could do that. She had a husband to get home to. She assured me not to worry, it would be okay. When we got to the car, she pulled some flowers from the trunk and handed it to me and said, "Congratulations on your graduation. I wish I could have been there."
The stay in Memphis was filled with laughter, shopping, hugs, dining, and re-securing a bond that I thought I had broken. We'd spent the day playing with Alexis, and the time had come to put her to sleep. Wilma and I drank and talked all night. One could feel the sexual tension between us. Even though we'd connected that night emotionally like never before, the ride home was quiet and filled with unspoken apprehension. We were headed to reality, and I knew I would have a million questions thrown at me. I felt confident in my answers being the truth. Yes, I had a great time with Wilma, but in my mind, it was all innocent. I just had to convince my heart and him otherwise.
I had shared with Marilyn that I had given some thought to going active duty, but I didn't want to be too far away from Alexis. After I report for my 30 days of active duty as a reservist, I was warming up to the idea of going active duty full time. I really needed the money and I could complete my college. I would give more thought to it if I could find a good job after my 30 days. My time with Marilyn was now being shared with other family members around, so we didn't get much alone time. I could feel the tension when we were all together in the room. Then one day she wanted to talk, but she wanted to meet somewhere private to talk. We met at one of our many secret hookup locations. If she thought I was about to be with her after the cold reception she had given me in the presence of others, she was about to be shamed. I needed some explanation from her about her coldness.
While Wilma was gone, my husband had asked that I sever ties with her and focus 100% on our marriage. I relied on the distance between her and me to help figure this out. This was one of the toughest decisions I had made in life. Not only did I love her, but I knew it was important for her relationship with Alexis to exist. It was important for her, Alexis, and me. I needed to talk to Wilma, and I wanted us to meet in a safe place to share our emotions and one that would bring the comfort needed for the talk. It was a discussion of the dreaded decision. It needed to be a place where our most vulnerable, raw, and intimate moments had occurred. It was foolish of me to think that any setting would soften the words.
When we met, I immediately noticed her eyes were red from crying. She was visibly upset about something. I had no idea what was going I had no idea what was going to happen, what she was about to tell me, that he had hurt her. I immediately asked what was wrong. Her mouth started to tremble, and I thought to myself, I don't want to hear what she has to say. She said, I don't know how to say this, so I want you to listen to this song. Her request for me to listen to a song was different than her previous requests. My eyes started to water up as a sense of sadness overcame me. Then I closed my eyes as the lyrics started. If I should stay, I will only get in your way. It was a magical voice. I had heard this angelic voice before because I loved her music. I had a serious girl crush on her, but I never paid much attention to this song by Whitney Houston. And she was singing, I will always love you. I wish you nothing but love. I hope life treats you kind. I opened my eyes and Merlin was in a full cry, saying saying he had asked her not to be friends with me anymore because he thought I was gay and he couldn't trust me. She had to try and see if that was it. I'm thinking, if that's it, what did she mean? She had literally written the words to the song on a piece of paper and was reading the words to me. With tears running down my face, I said, "Please don't do this. We're not doing anything. Please don't do this. What about Alexis? What am I supposed to do without you and her?" The thought of not seeing her was breaking my heart, but not seeing Alexis was a cross I wasn't prepared to carry. She said she wouldn't hurt me by taking Alexis away, but how was I to see her if he didn't want us to be friends anymore? She reached for my face and I pushed her away and got out of the car. She asked me to please get back in the car so we could finish talking. I told her I was done and I needed her to leave because I could not promise that I could keep it together. I walked around from the car as she drove alongside me for a second until I screamed, "Leave."
After that exchange, I was an absolute wreck and no good for anybody, not my husband, my child, or myself. That was one of the hardest things I had ever had to do in life. Having that conversation with Wilma was very difficult and not one I was in agreement with. I was going through all the appropriate motions and desperately trying to do all that was required and requested. My husband and I had a different definition of marriage. His definition of marriage was simply the legal union between a man and a subservient woman. Mine was the opposite of everything we were. I made a commitment to do all I could to make my marriage make sense.
And we're going to stop right there tonight. But we wanted to read a few excerpts from the book just to give you an idea of what the book is about. And it's not really to get on here to try to sell the book or not. It's just really some of the testimonies that we've heard about the book, about you. You'll find something in here about yourself. You'll find something, maybe whether or not you're straight or gay. It's been one of, it's been phenomenal. But we, I think that maybe, after reading it, when you're in a book club, you discuss something about the paragraphs you just read. Is there anything you
Right.
want to discuss about the paragraphs you just read?
The thing to discuss as it relates to this excerpt is I'm glad I was able to get through it because that was a very, very difficult time in our relationship, in my life. Um, and I did not know if I was going to be able to hold it together while I share that part with you guys. But it's just snippets of what this is for our audience. And like Wilma said, we have gotten so much positive feedback with readers telling us there was something in here for them. You don't have to be gay to relate. This is a life journey in here. It just happens to be about our journey. But so many people have been able to pull from the journey that we've shared and been able to apply it to something they've gone through.
So we're gonna try to do an audible this year. I may read it, I may not, because I get all whatever. Not emotional. I just get all crossed up.
And I get
And
emotional.
she get emotional.
But
So
I think we both agree that it would go over much better if it's our own voice.
Mhm.
Um, I'm having second thoughts about that because the connection that I have with the journey, I'm not. It won't be effective if I'm going to get emotional
Right.
and not be able to deliver.
Right.
So
Yeah. I feel the same way. And if I can't capture what I want to capture it through my voice without going back to that moment, because I go back. I went back to that moment, in particular on this, because it was kind of devastating at that time. But like she said, we got through it, and
yeah,
you got sometimes you gotta, what they say, go through
you
it to
got
get
to go
to it.
through it to get to it.
You got to go through it to get through it. But thank you guys so much, and make sure you stay to our YouTube. We're not gonna always be this serious. We're not gonna always have this kind of setting. We're gonna have a lot of content in 2024, a lot of different stuff, and YouTube is gonna be reserved for a special night out of the week to share our new content.
So thank you and welcome. Subscribe.
Subscribe.
The Rainbow Aunties, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok.
Y'all follow us. Please follow us. That's all we can do is ask. I think you're gonna enjoy it. Well, you know what? I know you're gonna enjoy it. Thank you. Good night.